Hi, grade ones. It's nice to be here with you. So this is my first time making a video, so we'll see how it goes. I have two things that I want to share with you today. One is a story and one is a surprise. So over the last couple of weeks, Mrs. Farrell has sent some things around oviparous animals. Now, oviparous animals, you probably learned if you watched the video, the story, were animals that lay eggs. We know that frogs lay eggs, right? You can see them down there in the water. And I bet you could think of some other animals that lay eggs before I show you. What do you think? You think of one? Say it out loud if you can think of one. Birds. Birds are oviparous. They lay eggs. Fish lay eggs, just like Mrs. Jarvis's fish eggs in the hallway. Snails lay eggs. Butterflies lay eggs. Snakes lay eggs. And we're back to the frogs lay eggs. So today I have a story for you called Wanda and the Frogs. And it's written by Barbara Azor and illustrated by Georgia Graham. So let's get started. Something wonderful had happened. Wanda could feel it in the warm sun on her skin. She could hear it in the rushing creek and smell it in the May blossoms. Spring had come. Walking home from school, Wanda came across a puddle beside the ravine. It had been left by the melting snow. Wriggling black tadpoles thrashed about in the shallow water. If I move my hand, you can maybe see the little tadpoles in the puddle. This next page is going to give you a hint to my surprise. The next morning, Wanda found her sand pail in the garage and on the way to school stopped at the puddle. It was smaller now. Wanda gently scooped some of the tadpoles into her pail. Very slowly, so that the water wouldn't spill, she walked to school. You can see her scooping the tadpoles into her pail. The teacher was surprised when Wanda handed her a pail of tadpoles. "Oh my," she said, peering into the pail. "Have you brought them for a visit? We'll have to find a small aquarium to put them in." The teacher went to the science storage room and found an aquarium just the right size. From the janitor's office, she borrowed an empty ice cream pail. Gotta get myself just right so maybe you guys can see a bit better. Bucket with a lid, then carried them back to the classroom. At recess, she took the ice cream bucket to the creek and brought back some water, some pondweed, and 2 large rocks. Then she went to the pet store to buy some tadpole food. Wanda gently poured the water and the tadpoles into the aquarium. The other children crowded round. The teacher announced, "We will take care of the tadpoles until they become frogs." What else do you see on the science shelves? Lots of interesting things. For the next few days, the teacher taught the children about frogs. Everyone was excited and curious. Wanda felt proud when the teacher said, "It's a good thing that Wanda found these tadpoles. They would have died when the puddle dried up." Wanda was made tadpole monitor. She had to keep the children in order when they were standing around the aquarium and make sure the tadpoles were fed. Everyone had a chance to watch. If you look really closely, you'll see a few tadpoles in the corner. The weeks passed and gradually the tadpoles turned into froglets. First they grew hind legs, then front legs, and then their tails began to shrink. Soon tiny frogs were hiding in the water weeds and climbing onto the rocks. When the teacher read The Princess and the Frog to the class, Sarah Jane asked, "Will our frogs change into princes if we kiss them?" What do you think? Do you think frogs change into princes if we kiss them? One Friday morning, the teacher said to the children, "Before you go home today, say goodbye to the frogs. After school, I'm going to take them to the creek, where there are lots of bugs for them to eat." All the children were sad. Wanda was miserable. She wanted to keep the frogs. Look at their sad faces. When the last bell rang, the children gathered around the aquarium and said their goodbyes. Wanda waited until the very last child had left, and then she said to the teacher, "Miss?" "Yes, Wanda?" "Can I take some of my frogs home?" "Oh, I don't know. Wanda, will your mother let you keep frogs at home? You would have to feed them more now." "I will," said Wanda, thinking of all the flies and spiders that her mother hated having in the house. The frogs would eat them for her. "Well, I suppose you did find them in the first place. Okay, I'll put a rock and some water and frogs in the ice cream bucket." Wanda slowly carried the frogs home and took them straight upstairs to her room. After supper, she removed the lid from the bucket so the frogs could see and breathe. What do you think could happen if she took the lid off the bucket? They do need to breathe, but what might happen? During the night, one of the frogs discovered that he could climb the rock and leap over the top of the bucket. The other frogs soon followed. Across the bedroom floor they went, out through the door, along the hallway, and plip-plop down the stairs. You can see them coming, I'm over here, out of the bucket. You see some hopping right there. There they go, down, out the door. Wanda was woken the next morning by the sound of screaming coming from the kitchen. She leapt out of bed and rushed into the hallway. Her father was already running down the stairs. Mother was standing in the kitchen doorway, still screaming. What do you suppose has happened? Why is Mother screaming? "There's a frog in the sink!" she shrieked. Daddy and Wanda peered in. "So there is," said Daddy. Just then a second frog appeared on the kitchen table and a third plopped out from behind the coffee pot. Soon there were frogs leaping all around the kitchen. That would be very startling if you didn't know you had frogs in your house. "Please get rid of them," Mother cried. Putting his arm around Mother, Daddy looked at Wanda and winked. "I think I knew where they came from," he said. He gently led Wanda's mother out of the kitchen. "You go back to bed. Wanda and I will take care of the frogs." Daddy fetched a cardboard box from the garage and punched holes in the lid. The frogs hid, hopped, and leapt all over the kitchen. Wanda and Daddy crawled after them, colliding with each other. Finally, every last frog was caught and popped into the box. Daddy closed the lid and Wanda could hear the frogs jumping about inside. I wonder if they sound like popcorn popping as they jump and hit the top of the cardboard lid. "Now, Wanda," he said, taking her by the hand, "let's get dressed and take the frogs back to the creek, where they belong. Frogs don't like living in houses. They'll be much happier at the creek." "Okay," said Wanda, "but I'll be able to visit them, won't I?" "Yes, of course," said Daddy. "Perhaps this summer we can build a pond in the garden. One of your frogs might like to come and visit." Uh-oh. Do you see what I see? One of the frogs is still in the house. I wonder what will happen. So I have a little surprise for you. I have a ditch, just like Wanda's puddle, in my neighborhood. And this ditch every year frogs lay their eggs, but every year it dries up. And just like Wanda's puddle, if it dries up, the tadpoles don't live. They can't live because they need water. So every year I take some tadpoles out and I bring them to school and we watch them grow into frogs. But we're not together right now at school. But I thought, that's okay. We can still watch them. So I have behind me on my sewing table, I have an aquarium, just like Wanda's teacher. And I have some pond water. I have put some of the pond water already in the aquarium, but I'll put a bit more. And I also have some tadpole frog spawn. I'm going to see if I can be very careful. I wonder if you'll be able to see. I'm not so sure. No, I don't think that's going to work. You can kind of see it in there a little bit. Maybe if I put it back in the jar, you'll be able to see it better. I'll do that very carefully. I'll bring it over. Let's see if you can see. You see that jelly stuff in there? Well, that's frog spawn. And inside, you might even be able to see a little bit of the dark C-shaped creatures. And those are the tadpoles. And they're in the little eggs in the frog spawn. So we're going to add the frog spawn to the aquarium. And inside the aquarium, I also have a big rock, just like Wanda's teacher, so that when the frogs get their legs, they can crawl out. So I'm going to very gently, while you're watching me on the video, going to very gently pour the frog spawn into the aquarium. I'm going to move that over, and I'm going to bring the video camera over and see if we can get a little bit better of a view from here. Oh, it's hiding over in this corner now. It's kind of hard to see. It's right down in that corner there. So, as the tadpoles develop, every week I'll make a new video and show you what they're doing. So first, we know that they'll hatch and then they'll have little tadpoles. So next time I make a video for you, it will probably show you some of the tadpoles that have hatched. It wasn't a very big, it was about that big, the frog spawn. So right now I want you to take a guess. How many tadpoles do you think are in that frog spawn? About that big. That big. How many do you think there are? Put it in your brain, and next week I'll count them and we'll see if you got close to it. I don't even know how many there are. I have to wait till they hatch to see, because the frog spawn kind of has some mud on it, like some dirt. And I think in the ditch, because there was dirt on the bottom of the ditch, I think it got onto the frog spawn. But it probably also helps to protect them from the sun. If it gets too hot, maybe it helps to protect them until they hatch, because they can't squiggle away. The other thing I'm going to do, so next time when you are here we're looking at them, I'm also going to get some pond weed to add into that so that they have places to hide in when they've hatched. But I just haven't done that yet. So I hope you've enjoyed the story, and I hope you enjoy my little surprise, because even though we're not in class together, we can still watch tadpoles hatch and develop into frogs. I hope you have a wonderful day, grade ones. Enjoy the sunshine. Get some reading done. I miss you. Bye.